Hello, my name is Tony, and this is Little Wins. This is my first video for my channel, so I'm going to try to explain what the things that my channel is about for this first video, and I'm going to give you a day by day through that. And the name of the channel is All Wins, keeping in mind that we need to concentrate on all the wins that come our way. Big ones, small ones, little ones. I want to share with you my journey that I've been going through since 2021. Springtime, actually it's April now, so it is officially a 4-year journey for the medical journey in the making. It's been 4 years now. So, and we still continue. So I will let you know, I live in the greater Cincinnati area. This is very beautiful here. If you haven't been here, it deserves a little trip. I also am 55 years old. So a little bit older for most people on YouTube. Recently, though, I have been going through, as I said, lots of medical. It started 4 years ago, April, 4 years ago, and it has continued step by step, devastating my life. Now, I understand that people have things happen in one day that completely devastates and changes their lives medically. I'm not here crying. I have done a lot of crying, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to lift you up, to lift us up, and for support. If you can't tell from this tremor in my voice, in my head, my hands do, I have Parkinson's disease, or cervical dystonia, or both. The doctor's just really unsure from test to test because things keep fluctuating, and that is very, very frustrating. If any of you have ever had a neurological disorder, then you know it's not black and white. Neurological disorders are completely gray. They completely affect people in different ways. The symptoms overlap. So we're going to get into all of that. Another thing, if you are someone who has suffered from Parkinson's disease, then you know that it is hard to find information. You can get information from medical institutes. You can get studies. You can get medical reports, medical trials. But what you can't get is a person who's been through it, who understands, or to explain to you, or to be able to look at something and know this thing is going on. That's what I cannot find. So I'm here to help with explaining that from my side, the realistic, real happenings that have occurred for me. And it has been a ride. I had a heater on, I needed to turn it off. It has been a ride for me to get through all of this stuff and understand anything. And still today, I don't understand anything. I still don't understand. I can literally go to the doctor, my neurologist, and have a different diagnosis every time I go. That he treated me this time for cervical dystonia, but last time he treated me for Parkinson's disease. And then the time before that, he treated me for Parkinson's disease with cervical dystonia. And that lack of answer or knowing, that is a whole nother level in your brain as to why you want things to be different. You know, just that alone, just, can you tell me what it is so I can know, instead of having the circle of the unknown? That'll make you have so many negative thoughts that you have to dig out of, and I have to dig out of them every day. So I'm here to help you also dig out. And I do this by having little wins. I win a little at a time. I manage a little at a time. I do a little bit better, a little bit longer, and then I don't, and I repeat. So let's get into how this all started back in 2021. So in 2021, in April, I was at work and I was getting sick and pain in my stomach, and sick and pain and sick and pain. And I just was having such a hard time with it. And I finally went to a, after hours, and not an emergency room, but the other one. Sometimes my thoughts leave me, and I know everybody's telling me the name of it right now, so thank you all, but I don't. Urgent care. I heard you all. I went to urgent care, and they sent me to the emergency room, and then I ended up having my gallbladder out. Okay, everything's going to be fine now. Most people have their gallbladder out, or a lot of people, not most people, but it's pretty common to have your gallbladder out. So easy peasy, couple weeks rest, back on your feet, life starts all over again. But life didn't start all over again for me. I started having pain, a lot of, upchucks, all the time, every day. It was a constant battle with these things, and pain. So I go to one GI specialist, and they give me medicine, and I just felt like at that place I was like a cow being led into slaughter. There were so many of us. We were just thrown in lines. I could hear them talking to everybody else about everybody else's issues. I knew that other people were going to hear them talking about mine. So it was just like we were cows being led into the slaughter of the scoping, the upper GI scope, or the lower. I mean, we knew who had lower. We knew who didn't follow instructions and had eaten when they weren't supposed to. You could hear everything. There was no privacy. If you've had a colonoscopy, you want a little bit of privacy. You don't want doctors talking about it and stuff like that, but they did. They talked about it. So I wasn't happy with that doctor, and I found another doctor who I absolutely love her, and I spent the next, till now, I've spent the next 4 years having endoscopy every 90 days. Every 90 days, because I have so many upper GI problems and with ulcers and everything that just won't clear up. I started living on milk and ice cream and stuff. And I'm telling you this because I read that these GI problems are the first and beginning symptoms of Parkinson's disease. That your body slows down its digestive system. You have all kind of issues from the upper GI and the lower GI because of Parkinson's disease. But would you know? No. You will think it's a gallbladder. You will think it is appendicitis, ulcers. I had ulcers with no reason to have ulcers. We can't find a reason to have ulcers. I've taken so much medication. The ulcers don't go away. They stay. and they come back and they get bigger and bigger. And I even have an upcoming surgery where they're cutting out the duodenum to get rid of all the ulcers there, and almost like a gastric bypass there, but with a shorter drain tube. If you're familiar with gastric bypass, on that they're going to the other side and they're letting have to cut out some more stomach, and they're, since the duodenum's gone, they have to reroute the plumbing, so to speak, for my stomach to drain on the other side. Now, once they do this, is it going to get better? We hope so. The ulcers are all cut out. Am I going to get more? I have no idea. How is it going to affect me with more of my stomach gone? I don't know. But at this point, 4 years of ulcers and pain and misery, and you know, you drink milk, you have a lot of ice cream, you can't eat vegetables there, you can't eat fried foods at all, you can't eat, I mean, I didn't eat a lot of fried foods before, but sometimes I want a potato chip, right? Sometimes you want a French fry. No French fry. French fry is instant pain. So you just don't. So I'm willing to go have those things done to find out if it will do any better. So that was the start of the Parkinson's journey. But then it went on. It went on to the whole thing of my stomach going on became so chronic. In 2020, I worked 3 jobs. I know, when the thing came and the stuff was shut down, I was working. Okay? I stayed working. But in 2019, 3 jobs. You know, I'm working. I love to work. You know, I'm working two full-times jobs, and then I'm running Instacart on the side, okay? So I loved working. 2021, by May, I was no longer able to work. I was off in April for surgery, and I did go back to work about 2-3 weeks, and I could not. I was getting sick at work. I was in pain at work. I was having so many issues at work from my stomach, I couldn't. And it's been that way ever since, slowly, no work, no doing this, no doing that. That's how it is. And that's why I want to talk about little wins, you know. And like I said, I know people have things that devastate their life all at once. I know. There are things in their life that happen, and I'm so sorry for those people, and it devastates their life all at once. So hopefully little wins will help you. But I'm talking about the gradual one, the gradual kind of decline that we at first think is aging, and it just takes us higher and higher to more hard places. You know, it gets worse and worse and adds on and adds on. Now, that kept me from working, and I, you know, said, okay, I would put stuff online, sell stuff online, do that for my son. Did pretty good doing it. Not always, sometimes. But I couldn't keep up all the time either, because I wouldn't feel good. I wouldn't be okay. I would be in bed 2 or 3 days in horrific pain, going back to the emergency room back and forth, all kinds of pain just stemming from my stomach. And that kept going on, and I kept deteriorating. And while I was deteriorating, I would notice my hand would shake, not like this, but it would shake, you know, sometimes. And I was like, my hands are shaking. I must be extra tired. I would just look, oh, they're shaking. It was a little tremor. And that kept getting worse and worse. And everything. And I would feel worse and worse. And then I started falling. I fell on my stomach and slid down the hall, tripped myself going forward. Great shorts video. If anybody would have gotten a video of it, people would have loved that one. So I fell there. I fell in a few parking lots. Can't remember how many. Went to sit down on the chair and sat on my tailbone and cracked my tailbone because I couldn't sit on the chair. And this was a time when I was becoming very dizzy all the time. Like I would get up and I felt like I'm playing pinball, smacking into walls and stuff. I was the pinball and somebody's controlling me, pushing me into the walls and stuff. That happened several times. That I would fall from that. I can't even count. And I just called it pinball and chalked it up to ear pressure. You know, having ear pressure and everything. And then I even went to the ENT. He sent me for vestibular therapy, and I still today will do my vestibular therapy and to keep so my balance feels like it's more straight. But not only was I falling, you know, I did my tailbone, and that time also started coming. Those were the small falls. Those were small falls. And that time also started coming. I couldn't handle the car. Now, I'm the person who likes to drive. I would wake my son up in the middle of the night when he was little and say, hey, let's go here. And we would just travel and go somewhere because we felt like it or fine. I love driving. I love going on trips. And I would fall. I mean, I would have an issue with driving. Suddenly, when I'm driving or riding in the car, a car could be 2 lanes over, explained to me as it was 2 lanes over. I never have believed that it was really 2 lanes over, or that these cars are 2 lanes over. I believe it because my son is telling me, my daughter's telling me, and I would believe it, but in my brain, I couldn't process it. I would see a car in 2 lanes with a clear lane between us, and I would scream, hold my breath, want to pass out, because I thought we were going to hit each other on the side, smack. I did this so many times, so many times. If a car was getting on the highway, I thought it was going to hit us. If we were getting off the highway, it got so bad, I would sometimes cry in the car. I would sometimes be crying. This is Opal. This Opal making her debut. Sometimes I would cry in the car from driving, and I didn't want to go anywhere, and I was scared to death. And I would tell my son, please don't take the highway. Tell my daughter, please don't take the highway. Please don't do this, please. Because I would be so scared of being in the car and being it moving. I was very frightened to drive. So I said I live in the Cincinnati area. We have bridges that are tall. We have, we're at the foothill of the Appalachia. So we have some nice hills. People call mountains. I think they're hills. But we have those, so that's nice. We have bridges, water, all these different elevations. And all of a sudden, my brain can't process it being out. So I was driving less. You know, I would just be like, hey, you drive. When I always wanted to be the one to drive, I started driving less. And then we come to more falls. So I spent time falling in the Kroger parking lot, getting gas. I fell and I rolled in front of a F-250. That would have really hurt, right? So I fell in front of the F-250. The guy stopped in time. He got out and helped me up and everything. So I was there. I fell. I had severe bruising all down my front and my back and my knee. I fell another time on the stairs. I fell on the stairs. I broke my leg. I fell another time on the stairs. I had severe bruising down this side of my body where I tried to hang on to the stair rail, but I kind of went over it at the same time at the bottom. And so it got me pretty good. So I started that falling and stuff. And those falls were all within 3 months. I barely had my leg out of the cast when I fell down the stairs again. So at that time, I was banned from driving. No more driving at all. You can't walk straight. You can't stand up straight. You bang into walls. You fall down. No driving. So we're 3 years in. Yeah, about 3 years in, and I have lost work, driving, feeling safe to walk. Little things are just deteriorating. Not able to go for a drive or go out and do things that I enjoy because I'm so paranoid of how the cars are. All of those things. Opal is a 3-year-old baby and she needs her blanket milk. This is her nasty little old blanket that she does her on. So she wants her blanket milk. She's 3 years old, but she was, you know how they are when you get them from the shelter. We got her when she was really baby, and you know what happens to them before they get there. Unspeakable things. So she's still stuck in baby mode. So anyway, we get to start seeing all these things that I enjoy in life being taken away. And I feel myself getting more depressed. Not so much lonely. I've always been alone, so I'm not really lonely. Like I was a single parent. I raised my son. He's married. My daughter is wonderful. She's my daughter-in-law. To me, she is forever. And my daughter, there's no difference between the two. So she and he, they help me all kinds of different ways. And I just raised my son alone. And I'm alone is okay. I don't have a problem with being alone because I'm not lonely. But I do like to go out and do stuff. But suddenly I'm not going out and do stuff. I would stay home literally a month at a time with no issue. A month at a time. No issue. And that's not good for anybody, right? So that is how my life was just deteriorating. And I started getting depressed, like a lot. And I would try to force myself into being happy. People say fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it is not always the answer. It's not always the answer. It's a great thing to say, but it's not always the answer. You have to have tangibility in what you're making. And that's what I want to discuss on this channel, is giving yourself tangible progress you can see. It's not faked. It's this. If you're going through something, I know the struggle, and the struggle is real. And I know for this in particular, there is not a lot of information out there of what is the real deal for people. What is the real happening? We don't know. We don't know. So, you feel better, Opal? So, the next thing, my little shakes started getting more. I remember my kids asking me a couple of times, am I okay? Because my head would tremor. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Why? And I would say, oh, I don't know, maybe I'm tired. But it didn't tremor like this. You know, this is much stronger than it was. At that time, I couldn't feel it. And this is April 2025. That was around January 2024. So we're talking about a year and a half ago. But then June comes, and my niece comes, and she comes to visit and drop my great niece off so I can spend the summer with her. And so she comes, and I'm cooking, and she's sitting in the kitchen, and she said, and Tony, I'm going to need you to see a neurologist. You have Parkinson's disease. I said, what? She said, yeah, you have tremors. You have Parkinson's disease. What? I mean, I know my kids said I shake. I know sometimes my head shaking. I'm like, I can't feel it. I'll put some videos of how it looked, if I can figure that out. But I do have some videos of how the tremor looked then, and you can see how it is now. So, you know. So that was in June. And she left. She came back in July to get her daughter. No, August, I'm sorry. August or July. July, August, I don't remember. Anyway, she was back a short time later. It had to have been July. She was back short time later. And my tremor was worse. It had grown more worse. It had done, and I said, is it because I know about it? Is it because I know about it? So remember, I'm telling you that because I'm thinking, oh, I know about the tremor, so the tremor's worse, right? So somehow psychologically, I made the tremor worse, right? So we're going to remember that part of the story, and I'm going to pick up there on the next video for that part of the story. We're going to remember it because it is very important for this and the progression and things that have happened. Anyways, lots more story going on. When I close, I will let you know, since this has been, you know, several months coming, I have, I'm on carbidopa levodopa, and I have had Botox injected. I need it all over my face, right? That's what they do on here. No, I have Botox injected in my neck on both sides, only the left side here for swallowing. So, because there is a risk of Botox doesn't allow you to swallow. So he only did it on one side, on the muscles that control swallowing. And then he did it in the back. So we're going to see if the Botox works. I've had it for like, I think it's a week now, only a week. And the prime time that it works is 5 weeks. But we'll get into more of that at the time. I just wanted to let you know where we're at. But it has been a hard time just to get to this point. And that's the part that I want to share with people. Now that you have a little back on what's going on, we're really going to look at the processes next of going through the doctors, all the scannings, physical therapy, all of the stuff that I've been going through constantly. And of course, the massive depression that I was going through, and still go through. I'm still going through it. But with little wins, it's getting better for me. And I hope with little wins, I can help it get better for you. Until next time, I will see you. I'm going to try every day to load a video. And then if you can like, that's great. Share the video, very great. I'm brand new. Maybe you know someone who's going through something medical that the little wins can help. Also subscribe. It's always free to subscribe. I know there's a lot of charging. I'm not charging. I'm sharing. I don't want to take more away. People that are here, we've had a lot taken away. We just need free support, free love, that's what we need, right? We don't need to take away more. So subscribing is always free. So punch that subscribe button, share the video for me, and give it a like. Thanks so much.